Hello friends, welcome to EduCBA's program on VBAs and macros. Have you ever felt frustrated by doing the same task again and again, let's say 100 times a day in Excel? Or did you ever wish that you could have created a function or a menu or something which did all your work at a single click? If the answer is yes, this course is specially made for you. An example could be that, let's say, a frustrated bank consultant. He used to advise thousands of customers on a daily basis regarding their EMIs. But one fine day, with his VBA knowledge, he actually made something like a EMI calculator. And what this EMI calculator did was something like this. Just provide the name and the email ID and the loan amount. That's the only thing that he took from the customers, with what is the tenure for the mortgage loan, and with some clicks here and there, all things were automated. So think of how simplified the life of a bank consultant was with these VBA macro coding. So you just clicked on update now, and what happened is all the list of banks which was stored in another sheet got referenced, and interest rate and processing charges were automatically populated in this sheet. With just selecting the list of the banks, he could calculate the EMIs, as you can see here. If you want to sort the EMIs, you can also do that with a single click. And let's say you want to impress your clients by showing them what will be the natural EMIs that they need to pay. You can do these awesome stuff using VBAs and macros. And to an extent, let's say a customer says that just email this report to me and I will have a look at it later. There's an option of doing that as well. So let's say you want to just print the report and give it to them. That's also possible. So there are a lot of possibilities in VBAs and macros, trust me guys. And if you're thinking of learning VBAs and macros, this is the place where you can really start off with. Now, if you look at VBAs and macros, it needs to start with some solid foundation. I just showed you something which was a bit advanced in nature. What are the possibilities? However, when you start, the basic course provides you with the introduction to the VBAs and macros. And essentially what we assume is that we are not making you programmers for sure. Here we are assuming is that a normal guy like us, can you automate a process and with no coding language knowledge? So with the limited knowledge of Excel and with no coding language, how will you make yourself aware of these automations using VBAs and macros? So we will actually use Excel to write codes for us and kind of tweak these codes in between and learn VBAs and macros. So this starts with zero knowledge of Excel, zero knowledge of programming, and takes you to a level where you are able to at least do some automation for basic tasks. Hello friends, welcome to EduCBA's program on VBAs and macros. This is basically part 2 of our training program on VBAs and macros, and we assume that you have some basic knowledge of VBAs and macros as such. So the idea here would be that we will look at something called a case study approach to learning this advanced VBA, and secondly we will also look at a non-coders approach. So what do we mean by these two? A non-coders approach, as we have discussed in part 1, is that primarily we will use Excel to kind of make the code for us, and we should be able to kind of manipulate and tweak that code. So that approach will remain constant, and in certain cases a coder's approach is unavoidable, so we will also look at that aspect as well. However, the theme of the discussion for this training is primarily a case study approach, and this case study is related to EMI calculator, which you see on the left hand side. So it starts, and it is basically divided into various milestones. We will learn the concepts of VBAs and macros, and along with that we will attempt this case study. So what does this case study does is that it calculates the EMIs from this list of selected banks, and you can do a lot of things with that EMI. You can sort it out, you can create graphs. So I'll just demonstrate what this EMI calculator would do and the kind of milestones we want to achieve. The first milestone would be that to learn what is user form, and user forms are basically nothing but the front ending of this whole thing, and it has text boxes, it has the list boxes like this, and then you can select different kinds of options from the banks, and then it has buttons and option buttons like this. So this is basically user form. So we learn all kinds of user forms and its options as such. Number 2 is we will look at how to update this button. This is known as update now button, and with this update now button, primarily what happens is that once you click this, your bank's list, which is stored in another worksheet, gets automatically populated. So here you will primarily learn referencing from same sheet, from another sheet, and linking this all together in an automatic way. So let me actually demonstrate while I write these objectives here as well. So let me write some name, david@gmail.com. What is the loan amount? You can put this random number here for the time being, 20 years, and let's see what happens when we click on update now. So when we click on update now, can you see that this whole sheet gets automatically updated from some other sheet? This other sheet is nothing but a source data sheet, and this is a separate sheet altogether. So this is how we can learn referencing. So we will look at how we can reference sheet and then apply the same on this case study of ours. So the approach is learn the basics, apply that in the case study. The third milestone here is basically regarding the calculate EMI. So you would have guessed here that calculate EMI would mean we are dealing with formulas. So how do you write efficient formulas, and kind of various varieties of formulas can be written here. So let's select a couple of banks and click here on calculate EMI, and the moment we do that, can you see that the EMI formula automatically populated. So that's what we will learn in milestone number 3. Okay, milestone number 4 here is related to sort EMIs. So sort EMIs, let's do that. What does sort EMI will do? It will sort all the banks in order of their EMIs. So that would be in increasing order. So you'll also learn how to sort strings as well in the basic part of it. But once you click here, the idea is that you should be able to sort the EMIs in the increasing order like the one we have seen here. So here you will actually be introduced to arrays and how one-dimensional arrays can be used to sort various elements of strings as well as numbers. Okay, so that's what is milestone number 4. Milestone number 5 essentially deals with how to create graphs, and we would assume that some basic approaches to creating automatic graphs, but here we will learn how to create dynamic graphs. So what do we understand by dynamic graph? Say for example, here we have only selected 3 banks, so we want that the graph for only these 3 banks should be populated. So let's click here and see what happens. So these 3 banks and the graph for these 3 banks gets automatically populated. So we will look at how a dynamic graph can be created and the approaches and means to creating an effective one as well. Okay, this is milestone number 5. Milestone number 6 is how to print report. So a printing of report would mean sending it to the printer with just a click of this button. So it's very easy as such, but it is being it's widely used as well. So be sure that you learn this. Number 7 is how to email the report with just a single click. So here what we will do is we will actually link this with Outlook and we'll send a PDF copy of the report. So here you will learn 2 things: how to create a PDF, store that in a requisite folder in, let's say, with the clear naming that you want or customized naming, and send it automatically through the Outlook. So as and when you just click here on print and submit, a printer should get activated. So that is the kind of possibilities that we learned here. So this is what this course is all about. We will use a case study based approach, number 1, and primarily we'll try to incorporate as much as non-coders approach as well. Okay, so that's how this part 2 is kind of structured, and we hope to see you doing some exciting things after you learn this course.